She asked it like she was asking about the weather. Soft voice, half smile, eyes not quite meeting mine. "If someone cheated," she said, stirring her coffee, "do you think you could forgive them?" The spoon clinked against the mug. Once, twice, too loud. I didn't hesitate. "No." She laughed. Not relief, not humor. A nervous release, like air escaping a punctured tire. "Oh my God, I'm just asking," she said quickly, "hypothetically." But nothing about it felt hypothetical. That was the moment, not the betrayal itself, the moment I knew I was already late to it. We had been together 12 years, married for 8, long enough to build habits that felt permanent, long enough to confuse routine with loyalty. I knew the map of her face in the dark, the scar near her elbow she forgot she had, the way she hummed when she folded laundry. We weren't loud lovers, we were quiet partners, the kind people envied because nothing dramatic ever happened. That should have been my first warning. People don't cheat because they're unhappy all the time. They cheat because they think they can get away with it. She had grown subtle lately, protective of her phone, screen always angled away, password changed twice in 3 months, new explanations for old absences, work ran late, gym sessions doubled, friends' names used like shields. I noticed everything. I said nothing. When you've loved someone that long, you learn the difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is calm. Secrecy is loud, even when it whispers. That night, she fell asleep before me. On her side, back turned, phone charging on the nightstand, face down, like it was ashamed of itself. I didn't rush. Rushing leads to mistakes. I waited until her breathing deepened, slowed, fell into that steady rhythm I used to find comforting. I picked up the phone with the care of someone handling evidence at a crime scene. The password came easily. She never thought I'd try. There it was, a name that meant nothing. That was the point. No hearts, no inside jokes, just a first name and a smiley face pretending to be innocent. The messages weren't explicit. They never are at first glance. They don't need to be. Intimacy has its own language. Miss you already. Last night was hard to forget. Same time next week? My chest didn't explode. My hands didn't shake. Something colder took over. Something precise. I scrolled, screenshotted, backed everything up to my email. Dates, times, photos, locations, enough to tell a story no one could rewrite later. I placed the phone back exactly where it was. Same angle, same position, same lie. Then I lay beside her and stared at the ceiling until morning. Grief comes in waves. Clarity comes like a switch. By sunrise, I wasn't heartbroken. I was focused. I didn't confront her. Not then, not soon. Confrontation is what desperate people do when they want answers. I didn't want answers. I wanted control. I watched, I listened, I learned. I tracked timelines. Her work nights aligned perfectly with his schedule. Hotel receipts buried in email folders she forgot were synced. A second messaging app disguised as a calendar. Clever. Sloppy. I spoke to a lawyer before I spoke to her. Quiet meeting, neutral office, coffee I didn't drink. I learned what silence was worth. I separated accounts slowly, just enough at a time to avoid suspicion, updated beneficiaries, changed passwords, documented assets, everything clean, everything legal. At home, I played my role perfectly. Same tone, same affection, same routines. I kissed her goodnight, asked about her day, laughed at stories that felt rehearsed. She relaxed. That was my advantage. People think revenge is loud, explosive, cathartic. They're wrong. Real revenge is procedural. Weeks passed, then months. I gathered more than I needed. I let her grow confident, careless. She started bringing his name up accidentally. Just a coworker, just a friend, always too quick to explain. I waited for the right moment. Timing matters. It came on a Sunday. She was packing for a conference, a new dress folded carefully into a suitcase, the one she wore the first time she met him. I knew because I had the photo. I sat on the bed and watched her move around the room we had built together. Walls still held pictures of vacations that now felt fictional. She looked happy. That was the last thing she expected me to notice. "Before you go," I said calmly, "can you sit for a second?" She froze. Just a flicker, but I saw it. I handed her the phone. My phone, not hers. "Read," I said. Her face drained line by line, message by message. She didn't cry, she didn't yell, she just stared, like the ground had disappeared and she hadn't realized she was falling yet. "How long?" she whispered. I shrugged. "Long enough." She tried to explain. They always do. It didn't mean anything, it was complicated, she was confused, she was lonely, she was sorry. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't interrupt. When she finished, I slid an envelope across the bed. Inside were printed screenshots, bank statements, a copy of the legal separation agreement already filed, my attorney's card. "I packed your bags," I said. "They're by the door." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "You went through my phone," she said, grasping for something that sounded like leverage. I smiled, just slightly. "You asked me a question," I replied. I answered honestly. She followed me to the front door in silence, saw the suitcases, realized this wasn't a threat, it was an ending. As she reached for the handle, I placed a folded note on top of the bags. She looked at it, then at me. "What's that?" she asked. "A response," I said. "Hypothetically." She unfolded it with shaking hands. "Hypothetically, you're homeless." I closed the door before she could say my name again. Friends took sides. Most didn't ask questions. They never do when the evidence speaks clearly. Her family called once, then stopped. He disappeared the moment reality touched him. Affairs thrive in shadows. They rot in daylight. I kept the house, the accounts, the future I had protected while she gambled with it. At night, the silence felt different, not empty, clean. I thought I'd feel triumph. I didn't. I felt something better, peace. Betrayal teaches you a brutal lesson. Love without awareness is a liability. I had paid my tuition. I graduated without begging. Sometimes I think about that question she asked, how casual it sounded, how close she came to getting away with it. She wanted forgiveness without consequence. I chose clarity with precision. I didn't destroy her, I simply stepped out of the way and let the truth do its job, and I slept better after that.